The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hoop Ballers! Are you ready? That's right, Hoop Ballers. Time to break it down. Welcome to the Box Score Breakdown. I'm Josh Millman. I'll be with you Wednesday nights for our Box Score Breakdown podcast. This is a Hoop Ball presentation. Hoop-ball.com is the website. Excited to be with you guys. This is new territory for me. And with me is a brand new Hoop Ball contributor, Curt Beach. Curt, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, Josh. How are you doing?
I can't complain. It's basketball's back. What's to complain about, right?
Yeah, no kidding. We got our first big Wednesday, a whole bunch of games to break down, some big performances, some duds.
Yeah, a whole bunch like that. That's the beauty of the games. It's just you get a whole lot of fun. It's a brand new slate, a whole lot of things shaking out from day one already, and of course, and how they're going to affect your fantasy teams. So before we get into all of that, I want to just let you know that this is a Hoop Ball presentation, and that means that we are sponsored by our good friends at Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. And that's all of our audio-visual shows over at Hoop Ball. They are our title sponsor. They are awesome. Check out their website at hawaiianisles.com, on Amazon by searching for Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee, or on Twitter at HIKONA Coffee. They're wonderful. They've been with us for a while, and definitely check them out whenever you can. So, Curt, we got a lot to go through. They threw us into the wolves here. Tons of games, tons of action. We got to get right into it, man.
We certainly do. We want to kick it off?
Yeah, let's do it. So we're just going to do this in chronological order, or at least when the games ended. So we will start with an unexpected barn burner. It was the Charlotte Hornets beating the Chicago Bulls 126-125. It was a close one for much of the game. And unfortunately, if anyone had Charlotte going 0-82 on the season, you might want to tear up those tickets right now. And we got a ton of fantasy goodies in this one. We are going to start on the Bulls side. Your big monster box score line went to Lauri Markkanen, 35 points, 17 boards, 2 assists, a steal. He was 13 of 25 from the floor. He chipped in a three-pointer. A massive output from Markkanen in a losing effort. He was going. Everyone believed that he had some top 25 potential, and if this is a sign of things to come, I think you're going to be happy owning him. Curt, another guy that caught my eye through this game is the Bulls' young rookie, Coby White. I know I'm jumping around a little bit with not getting to some of these starters, and I should warn everyone before I jump into Coby White, because we have such a massive slate, we're going to just kind of pick out a few guys per team, focus on them a little bit rather than go through everyone else. It's just we want to make sure that we focus on guys that catch our attention or guys want to rush the Ravers to, or guys who you're kind of in between about. They might be top 100-ish players. You're not really sure. We won't go too far into the studs because they're studs. You expect them to deliver, and a lot of studs did do just that tonight. So a guy that I'm looking at right now is Coby White, and a lot of people believed in the rookie going into the season. He does not have the starting job right now, but he played 27 minutes off the bench and scored 17 points and chipped in 7 assists and 3 boards on a pretty good 6 of 13 shooting, and a three-pointer, 4 of 5 from the line. No defensive stats, but one thing that caught my attention was only one turnover for a rookie guard, which I think I found impressive. Even with sharing backcourt responsibilities with Thomas Satoransky and Chris Dunn and Ryan Arcidiacono played 10 minutes, he still was able to kind of find his way, and that kind of picked my eyes up a little bit. Curt, anything that you want to add on the Bull side? Kobe White, lay it on me.
I think that was a pretty good take there. I'm not super stoked with the point guards in Chicago just because I think it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride. But if you're going to plant your flag on anyone, probably Kobe White's the way to go. I didn't expect him to have this many assists after the preseason. It was a little quiet in the assist department. But yeah, if you're going to pick one of these point guards from the Bulls for the upside, I'd probably go with him.
Yeah.
One thing, if you picked Otto Porter Jr. in your early rounds, you might be a little bit bummed. He went for 9 points, 2 rebounds, assists, 2 steals, and a block. But his value's in those little things. He's getting you those defensive stats. He got a 3. He didn't turn the ball over. And he's probably going to be better than this on most nights when Markkanen's not this hot.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Porter is one of those unexciting guys, but he keeps giving you the right stats. So we'll take the 4 different cash counters there. A couple, including the 2 steals and the blocks, and just hope that he has some better shooting nights in the future, because we know he can. We know he can fill it up. Let's go over to the Hornets side, because I will anecdote this and just say that I'm in a 10-team league with a number of friends of mine, and by the time this game started to when this game ended, there were 4 different Charlotte Hornets that got picked up in this 10-team league. It was that kind of night for the Charlotte Hornets. So the hot name going into the game was P.J. Washington. And P.J. Washington delivered. 27 points on 9 of 17 shooting. He was red hot from deep. He was 7 of 11 from 3. Chipped in a steal and a block as well, and played 37 minutes in this one. Going into it, I don't think anyone really knew what to expect from the Charlotte rotation, and how they pretty adamantly said that they were going to play their young guys, but I didn't think it was going to be to this degree. And very clearly, they're going to play the hot hands in these games, and it worked for them in this one. P.J. Washington was their leading scorer, but they also got surprise contributions from Dwayne Bacon, who chipped in 22 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, and took 21 shots. The efficiency wasn't that great, but still got the green light and took it often, chipped in a couple steals. And in addition, Devontae Graham came off the bench, played 27 minutes and scored 23 points, had 8 assists, 4 boards, and was getting a lot of crunch time minutes in place of Terry Rozier, who is the guy that everyone thought was going to be their go-to guy and just dominate usage, and that just did not happen tonight. So I'll ask you, Curt, who on earth are you picking up from this team? Because everyone's going to be rushing to the waivers for the massive statistical outputs that came out of this one for Charlotte.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing Charlotte guys getting picked up everywhere. And for me, if P.J. Washington wasn't already owned in any of your leagues, I'd probably take him. It looks like he's already overtaken Batum. And Batum, I think, came up with another injury tonight. So, especially after this performance, I think he's got all the runway in front of him that he can handle. And I was kind of interested in him in the preseason. He was doing all right, giving you a good balanced line. And so I looked into some of his college stats at Kentucky. He was putting up 15 points, 7.5 boards, 0.8 steals, 1.2 blocks, and 0.9 threes. And that was just in 29 minutes a game on only 10 shot attempts. So he was almost one of those 1-1-1 guys for you in limited usage. And the other thing that stood out to me, even though he was only making 0.9 threes, he shot him at a 42% clip. So
yeah, he's got that capability for sure.
Yeah, so definitely looks like he's got the green light. I'm curious about Devontae Graham, but I don't think we're going to be seeing this on a regular basis with Terry Rozier there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know. It felt like Charlotte was playing the hot hand, and Terry Rozier was 2 of 10 today. So look, Rozier isn't going to give you great percentages no matter what, but it clearly wasn't his night. And I think Charlotte, again, playing the hot hand, and Devontae Graham was a hot hand, 6 of 7 from deep, 7 of 9 from deep. I think the one thing to bear in mind is that, everyone's going to rush to the waivers for these guys. But, I mean, there's some really hot shooting between P.J. Washington and Devontae Graham. And I don't know that we can expect that from them every night. But it's nice that they pretty much have a green light, it seems. And they're going to play fast. Again, like they said, they're committed to their young guys, and so this is what to expect. So I don't mind taking a flyer on any of these guys. If someone ends up working for you, great. It's found money. If not, okay, then it's back to the drawing board. But it's one of those situations where some guy, P.J. Washington might be hot one night, then it goes back to Miles Bridges and Rozier. Devontae Graham gets hot one night, and then maybe Dwayne Bacon is filling it up. It could be that there's a lot of opportunity, but it could also drive us head-to-head guys a little nuts trying to keep up with who has the better game every single game out.
Absolutely. I think somebody else that I might consider grabbing here, if you were all on board with picking up your guards early like most of us were in our drafts, you may have found yourself in a spot like I did in some places where I actually was a little weak on centers and kind of reaching for centers on the end. So if you don't mind kind of a bottom barrel center in Cody Zeller, if he's getting minutes like this, he can come out there and probably get you a double-double with maybe close to a block. It's not going to be anything exciting, but if you're trying to fill that last center spot, might be somebody you look at.
No, 15 and 12 with an assist and on 6 of 11 shooting isn't bottom barrel at all. That's a solid line. Again, for someone you're basically getting either at the end of your drafts or off the scrap heap. So that was a solid line for him as well.
Absolutely.
We're gonna jump on. Again, we got a lot of games to cover, so we're gonna try to get to as much as humanly possible. The Detroit Pistons beat the Indiana Pacers 119-110. The Pistons playing without Blake Griffin, who's going to be out for at least through the month of October. Dealing with knee and hamstring injuries. So naturally, Andre Drummond took that to, destroy everyone in his path, as Andre Drummond tends to do. 32 points, 23 boards, 3 steals, 4 blocks, and even better on top of all this, he was 8 of 10 at the line. This was a monster line for Andre Drummond, and I think as long as Blake Griffin is out, he's just going to eat. He's just going to eat, and he ate against a very good defensive team and defensive front court against Miles Turner. So this was solid for Andre Drummond. And digging a little bit deeper into the team, hey, they got some great bench contribution. 30 points from Luke Kennard, 8 of 13 shooting, 6 of 9 from deep. Also 8 of 10 at the line. And look at D Rose still going. 18 points, 9 assists, also 6 of 11 shooting, 6 of 7 at the line. 4 turnovers, but we can live with that. Even though we don't like to see turnovers for you nine-catters. But hey, for Derrick Rose, again, who you're paying almost minimal price on, we'll take an 18-9 line. What do you take away from the Pistons side of things, Curt?
Well, the one thing that kind of stands out to me, everyone has been kind of riding the hype train of Christian Wood lately, trying to see where he might end up if the Pistons didn't pick him back up. He was only out there in a night where Blake Griffin wasn't playing. We only got 4 minutes out of him, and all zeros across the board minus a turnover. So if you have him and you're looking at one of these hot free agents that are popping up tonight, might be time to pull the trigger already.
Yeah, that was disappointing. I'm with you. I think that there was a lot of expectation. He played really well in the preseason. They let Joe Johnson go, and really to make sure that he had a spot on the roster. With Blake Griffin not fully healthy, we thought he'd be able to carve out an opportunity, and it just wasn't meant to be. And I think that, these guys are going to end up staying small for the most part and playing Markieff Morris over at the 4. and just letting Drummond do his thing until he can't go anymore. I actually like the Derrick Rose Luke Kennard pairing off the bench. I think it's a nice dynamic for them to be able to come in place of Reggie Jackson, who was largely ineffective in 20 minutes, and Bruce Brown, who's not really an offensive guy, known more for his defense, but he really didn't add anything to the defensive stats. So none of those guys are really viable to me. But I really happen to think that, end of your bench, I think Luke Kennard and Derrick Rose, those were the, kind of end of your draft flyers. They're definitely going to be on my radar now.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we hop over to the Pacers?
Yeah, let's do it. Domantas Sabonis leading all scorers with 27 points, adding in 13 boards. A very typical kind of Domantas Sabonis line, though. An outstanding popcorn numbers with 27 points and 13 boards. He did it on 11 and 15 shooting, but again, no three-pointers, no steals, no blocks. He was perfect from the stripe, which is nice. This is something that, we kind of come to expect with Sabonis. And it's nice on paper. It's nice to see that, he and Turner mesh fairly well in this game. But again, he is not a cash counter specialist, so his upside is going to be a little bit limited, even with, 27-13 nights like this where he's just outstanding. He's not going to hurt you by any means, but these are big nights, and unless he's chipping in on the defensive side or shooting from three, it's hard to trust some of those numbers. He was a 59% shooter last year and was kind of like barely in that top 100 range. So it's a little bit concerning that those kind of trends can continue for him from a fantasy perspective. Curt, any Pacers that you want to kind of eyeball on this one?
We don't need to spend a whole lot of time on him, but kind of opposite of Sabonis, Turner, on the other hand, is checking all those boxes outside the popcorn numbers. So he came up with 25 and 9 with 2 steals, 3 blocks, and 4 of 7 from 3. So really bringing in the cash counters for you. And another thing that caught my eye was some of the minutes here. He played 38 minutes, which you don't always see. So that's right. A nice sign. Maybe that's a trend that continues this season. If so, he's going to feast and should easily smash his ADP.
Yeah, it looks like it. He talked about, wanting to become more of a three-point threat. And yeah, I think, they were always reluctant to play in big minutes and to play him in that big offensive role. But it seems like he's gotten pretty comfortable. And especially with the kind of off nights from Jeremy Lamb and TJ Warren, those guys didn't really shoot the ball particularly well. They're going to need him on offense. They can't just rely on Sabonis, and they can't, Malcolm Brogdon can do it. He had a pretty nice line himself, but he wasn't really all that efficient from the floor either, with 5 of 13. But he did knock down 2 3-pointers and was 10 of 11, his usual excellent free throw shooting. I think there's plenty of opportunity for Turner to keep that offensive pace up, and he's going to need to do that for as long as Oladipo is on the shelf.
I agree. What do you think about TJ Warren and Jeremy Lamb? They're a little bit quieter, and we know they can give you some pretty well-rounded stat sets, but they weren't too buzzy today, and I think TJ Warren even came up with an injury.
Yeah, he took a pretty nasty fall late in the game. I haven't seen if I don't know that he's going to be expected to miss any time. I haven't seen any further reports since that fall. But as of right now, I would just classify them as holds. Because like you said, look, there's a lot of track record with guys like Jeremy Lamb and TJ Warren. That they can fill up the stat sheet. You can get them to score, get some boards, get some, throw in some assists and steals here and there, and provide some pretty decent shooting nights and chip in from deep. So again, you're not looking for. There may not be the kind of upside with some of those other buzzier Charlotte guys like we spoke about, but you're also not going to deal with the floor falling out. I think like a night like this is probably the floor for guys like Jeremy Lamb and TJ Warren, and all things considered, could be worse, right?
Definitely.
All right, we'll go to kind of the crummy game of the slate here. Orlando defeating the Cleveland Cavaliers 94-85. I maybe watched like 2 minutes of this one, and it just seemed like both teams were kind of sleepwalking through this game. Um, on the Cavs side, we knew this team was going to struggle. But man, it felt like, I don't know, watching these guys felt like pulling teeth, even just for the limited time that I was trying to engage with the team. Tristan Thompson actually led tied for the lead in scoring, 16 points, 11 boards. He did it on 8 of 11 shooting, added a block as well. Colin Sexton also with 16 points. But again, very kind of popcorn in nature. There's only a couple boards, couple assists. Did it with some lousy shooting, only 5 of 15 from the floor. Did add 3 3-pointers, but also 3 turnovers. The big premier name that we're kind of most curious about was Kevin Love. He only took 10 shots tonight and only knocked down 4 of them. No threes, but he did rebound the ball 18 times for an 11-point, 18 rebound night with 3 assists. He added a steal there. So, Curt, I had a piece where I was trying to up my Twitter game, and I classified Kevin Love as a bit of a wild card this season because you know what he can do when he's on the court, but just the team around him, the trade rumors, the injuries, any number of crazy factors could come from Kevin Love. What do you think of his line, and what do you think that he might be able to do moving forward?
He's definitely one of your risk reward plays. He's still capable of going off and getting you that 25 and 20 like the old Kevin Love, but it's definitely not going to happen all the time. And with the injuries in the last few years, as much as I like his game, if he puts up a couple pretty solid lines where he's getting you 20 and 10, 20 and 15, I think I would probably try to move him for somebody a little safer.
Yeah, I think good. It makes sense, especially like if he can keep it going for the first couple months of the season. He gets through things unscathed, which you never know. I feel like you're playing with fire no matter what. But I'm with you on that strategy. Maybe you sell high on him, knowing that he could get shipped off at any point, or the wheels could fall off at any point. But yeah, I guess this line isn't the worst thing in the world, and hopefully there's better scoring nights. I think the problem I have with this Cleveland team is that, again, Colin Sexton, 15 shots, only knocking down 5 of them. Jordan Clarkson, 12 shots, only knocking down 2 of them. There's just no reason for that. And, I know that they're trying to get these guys going, but I look, Jordan Clarkson just has no business on this team anymore. And it's just taking away from some of the younger guys. Anyone else that even remotely intrigues you on this Cavs team?
I grabbed Jetty Osman with a lot of my last round picks in a lot of drafts this year, and I'm not stoked about it. I know his percentages and his defensive stats, his turnovers, they all kind of hurt you, but I just thought with the opportunity, maybe he's got a chance. The other name that I was looking at as a late round flyer in a lot of drafts was Darius Garland. He didn't do a ton today. 8 points, 5 assists, a steal, 2 rebounds, 2 threes. It could be worse. I mean, at least he played after just getting 5 games under his belt in college. So I have a little bit of an itchy trigger finger. So I actually cut him in a couple spots for PJ Washington. But especially with point guards not being as easy to find this year, he's not a bad guy to hold on to at the end of your bench for a couple weeks and see how he does.
Yeah, especially the number that I'm intrigued by most is 31 minutes. So that the fact that they kept him on the court that long and didn't try to mess around, like he's very much their starter there, and it seems like they're committed to him. And look, there might be better opportunity for him or Orlando. In the Cavs' defense, whatever defense we can make for them, is that Orlando's a pretty good defensive team. So they probably put the clamps on them. Didn't feel like they needed to kind of run him out of the building. So perhaps there's some better offensive nights for him in the future. But I'm encouraged that he's been on the floor and that he seemed to be involved, for the most part. in the Cavaliers' game plan. So on the Orlando side, Nikola Vucevic, 21 points, 9 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, no blocks, only a turnover, 50% shooting. He did chip in the three-pointer and was 4 or 5 from the line. Typical Vooch line. Don't really need to think about that. But one guy, I will call out one guy, another Josh Millman wild card for those of you who follow me on Twitter, Jonathan Isaac. We love Jonathan Isaac here at Hoop Ball. But this is the kind of line that, both Dan and I were concerned about when we were debating the merits of Jonathan Isaac. The line goes 3 points, 8 boards, 2 assists. But the value comes again. He had 1 steal and 2 blocks, but he has got to shoot the ball more than 3 times in a game. Like, I did not watch enough of this game to see if he was passive or was looking to be involved in offense, but for whatever reason, he is not nearly as involved as he should be, and he's got to get his hands on the ball far more and shoot, to get the ball to the basket more than 3 times a game. That just can't happen.
Absolutely. If it were me, I think I would be trying to, just because I like those defensive stats so much, with that lower line, and we know that he got off to a pretty slow and kind of a rocky season last year. If somebody rolled the dice on him again, and now they're thinking, oh, it's the same show all over again, it might be a good opportunity to buy low on him.
Yeah, perhaps. I just hope it's not the same old song and dance, like you said, where he comes out slow, and then he catches fire, and then he disappears again. I want to see this guy's game grow, and the signs here just simply are not encouraging. And perhaps we just didn't need to see a ton of that because, again, it was the Cavs that they were playing. It didn't appear like they were really trying to force tempo or really try to, get into so much of an offensive groove. And really the starters on this team, only Vooch exceeded that 30-minute mark. So they may not have needed to exert that kind of energy that they would need to against some of the better teams out in the East. So there might be some better times ahead for our boy Jonathan Isaac. One quick name to talk about, though. This is important. Markelle Fultz, off the bench, 12 points, 6 assists on 6 of 12 shooting. Did not make a three-pointer, but played 23 minutes. Also added in 2 steals. Curt, what do you make of Markelle? Is this for real? Should we, if he got cast aside, should we be running to the wires here?
It's so hard to trust him, and he puts up so many duds. He's got that wonky shot, but when he's playing behind DJ Augustine, I mean, you could easily see throughout the season him taking over that position battle, and maybe he's finally got it together. If you got some room at the end of your bench, I think he's worth a grab.
Yeah, I got to keep it. Look, number 1 picks are number 1 picks mostly for a reason, because they're talented guys. We give him the business over the shot, and all the shoulder problems that we had, but or that he had. It might have just been too early to give up on the kid. He's still young. There's still talent there. Orlando must have had some sort of plan with him. And right now, the 6 of 12 shooting looks incredibly positive. He looked like he was attacking the basket. And just I hope the best for him. And sure, he's a guy that I'd be more than happy to take a flyer on, because it seems like his role is going to be steady as a bit of a caddy to Augustin. And if they split time and he sees time in the mid-20s, I don't think that that's the worst thing in the world, especially because there's a ton of upside with him. And that's a gamble I would absolutely take.
Who, if you could choose between somebody like, say, Fultz, Darius Garland, or some of those Charlotte guards, who's kind of someone that you're leaning toward if they're all available?
Man. You know what? I'll be a little contrarian on this. I'm going to say Fultz out of all those guys, because I think the PJ Washington, again, will be the hot name if we haven't grabbed him already. But I really feel like there might be a little bit of Russian roulette with some of those Charlotte guards, because I could totally see, Rozier wasn't really super involved in this one. He just didn't have the hot hand. But when he comes back and starts gobbling up usage, what's going to happen to some of these other guys? We know Miles Bridges has top 50 capabilities in him. So once he gets going, what's going to happen to P.J. Washington and Devontae Graham? I just think that on a night-to-night basis, they might be harder to trust than Markelle Fultz, whose role is going to be pretty secure, even though he's coming off the bench. And the upside's there, where if they feel comfortable, they may hand him the keys later on in the season.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. One guy on here that stands out to me a little bit that I think a lot of people took as one of their last slots in the draft was Terrence Ross. He only got 19 minutes, 10 points, 2 steals, 4 rebounds, and 2 threes. So for some people, they might be already ready to jump ship. But for me, he got paid. He's usually getting minutes in the mid-20s. And he's somebody that could go out there on a given night and hit close to 10 threes, like if everything goes his way. So just for the difference maker he is in three-pointers, I would recommend holding on to him.
Yeah, just give it another couple of games. This was a sloppy one, probably not indicative of what the Magic are capable of. So hold your guy. Yeah, if you drafted anyone in the Magic, let's just hold them and see where things go from there. We're going to go over to Boston and Philly. Big grudge match in this one. Philly wins 107-93. Let's start with the Sixers. Ben Simmons, 24, 9 and 8 on 11, his usual 11 of 16 shooting, but so much for expanding his game. Not a single 3-pointer to his name, and no defensive stats either with 4 turnovers. Again, the big five. There weren't really too many big surprises with the big five on the Sixers, and B didn't really shoot the ball all that well today. But he did chip in 3 blocks, even though he was only 5 of 14 shooting. Tobias Harris with a nice double-double, 15 and 15. He had a couple 3-pointers, 2 steals as well. Horford doing, typical Al Horford things. Not the best shooting night, but not the worst either. But he added a 3-pointer and a steal. Josh Richardson also struggled from the field, but ended up with 17, 6 and 2. With a couple blocks and a steal, which was nice. I think ultimately, it's kind of ride or die with the Sixers starters. When you look at the bench, there really isn't that much to go on. Matthias Thybulle is, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Are you going to pick him up for the defensive stats alone, or is it kind of risky on a night-to-night basis with him?
As much as I love defensive stats, I don't think I'm quite pouncing on him yet with some of the other free agents that we have popping off. The 2 steals, the 2 blocks, and the 3 are nice. And if anyone in the starting lineup goes down, we could see him definitely be somebody that's getting picked up quite a bit. But, yeah, I'm probably passing for now, but I'm definitely still keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It might be a little too early to see, but no, so far he's been praised for his defense, and that's shown up on the box score. So that's pretty nice to see, but again, I'm not investing a pick right there. Anything else you want to talk about the Sixers? Again, it's just I'm not at all shocked by what happened with their starters. They gobbled up a ton of minutes. Embiid only played 23 minutes, but I wouldn't worry too much there because I know they're going to kind of load manage him in their own way. And he didn't really have a great shooting night. But anything else that we want to touch on the Sixers?
Just one little tidbit was Josh Richardson coming through with that steal and the 2 blocks. If he can keep that up, that's great. I know a lot of us are really hoping for a little bit of a bounce-back year for him in that area. So far, so good.
Beautiful. All right. Let's jump over to the Celtics. Gordon Hayward with a nice night. 25 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 8 of 15 shooting. 9 of 11 from the stripe. No defensive stats, but all in all, pretty good game for Gordon Hayward. Jason Tatum had 21 and 10 with 2 steals, 2 assists, and 4 3-pointers. That's a pretty nice line. The disappointment was Kemba Walker, 4 of 18 from the floor for 12 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. That was not a good debut for Kemba Walker. Any sign of panic in you, Curt, for Kemba?
I wouldn't say panic. He'll definitely be better than this on most nights, but a lot of people were debating those guards that you're taking in the second round: Kemba, Drew, Devin Booker, Trey, Doncic. And it was usually hard for me to go with Kemba over most of them. But like I said, he'll be better than this on most nights. Maybe a buy low opportunity.
I'm not going to lie. I was kind of lower on Kemba than a lot of people were. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt, obviously. One bad game doesn't make a season. I'm probably just kind of giving you the hot take treatment here because Philly's defense is great, number one. And number two, it's just one game. But I was a bit concerned as to how he would mesh early. And I think that there are going to be some growing pains for Kemba Walker with this offense. I think they run, what Brad Stevens does is pretty different than what he was accustomed to with Charlotte. And he was really, not to say that he's not the guy here in Boston, but they really, really depended on him down in Charlotte. And now he's got other mouths to feed with Tatum and Hayward, Jaylen Brown as well. And it might just take a little bit of getting used to and feeling things out before we start seeing the Kemba of old.
I agree.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and let you all know about mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag, again, this proud sponsor of Hoopball. And you can sign up using the code TODAY, TODAY. That's the promo code TODAY. Place all of your bets with mybookie.ag. Again, a lot of us over at Hoopball have switched over to them. Bet on hoops now that the season's starting, and bet on other sports, football, if you're into that sort of thing. And again, they care about you. They're not just there to, just rob you blind. That's not the way these guys operate. They, great customer service, and they want to make a difference and hustle for you and make your betting experiences really positive. So go check them out, mybookie.ag, and again, sign up using the code TODAY, and they will match your first deposit up to $1,000. So again, put in $1,000, you get $1,000, but you got to bet that money. You can't just take it all out there. So again, mybookie.ag, promo code TODAY. Go check them out. Curt, we're moving back now to the Miami Heat and the Memphis Grizzlies. 120-101 on the Heat side. Justice Winslow playing without Jimmy Butler. 27, 7, and 7. With a 3-pointer, a steal, and a block on 10 of 21 shooting. What a great night for Justice Winslow. Is this a one-hit wonder for him whenever Jimmy Butler gets back?
I think it's definitely a high watermark. I'm not super confident that he's gonna be putting up lines that are gonna make you want to hold him all throughout this season, but he definitely showed up tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I would assume that Butler's going to be back on the court fairly soon, much sooner rather than later. It's not like he's dealing with a long-term injury. But I would imagine that they'd figure out a way to coexist together. I don't think he's going to put up 27 and 7 on every night by any means, but I still think he's a capable player, and he's shown that, and he's really evolved over the years. So hang on to him for now. Let's just see how he interacts with Jimmy Butler before making any rash decisions about keeping him or cutting him. Tyler Herro started in his place, 14 points, 8 boards, 6 of 14 shooting, and a couple steals in there as well. Nice debut for the rookie. He got a lot of raves from both Butler and the Heat brass. So it was a nice night, but I don't expect this to continue. So I don't advise rushing to the wires for him. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, I looked to see if he was out there. He was picked up in a lot of my leagues, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning PJ Washington over him if they were both out there.
I'm with you there. Yeah, I'm with you. I'd prefer PJ over Harrow. Kendrick Nunn. What do you think about him? 24 points on 10 of 18 shooting. Can that continue, or is that just also a Jimmy Butler effect?
That's a tough one. I mean, I don't think he'll put up a line like this, but he did drop 40 the other night. I don't
Yeah.
think I know enough about him to make a good call on him.
Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere and just one of those preseason darlings, and he kind of carried it over into the season. So, I just think he's a guy to watch. I don't want to get sucked into too many of these guys. At least Winslow has some sort of pedigree where we can say, look, we know he's capable of these numbers. So there might be a way that he can coexist, but I can't imagine that Nunn and Harrow are going to get the same level of burn and usage and opportunity once Jimmy's back in the lineup.
Right, he's going to soak up a lot of that usage for sure.
All right. On the Memphis side, Jaren Jackson Jr., 17 points, 3 boards with a steal and 2 blocks, 5 of 12 shooting. Not a spectacular night, not the worst either. We would hope that there'd be more on the rebounding side from Triple J, but his usual blocking and defensive capability is shown, but he was 0 of 6 from deep. So not great, not the worst either. I think there's better times still to come for him. And the debut of Ja Morant, 14 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 50% shooting, steal and a block as well. What can we expect from the Grizzlies as a whole? Ja, are you happy? Are you sad? Where do we think we go from here, Kurt?
I think they're going to be fun to watch. He's definitely going to get you a boatload of assists. He's probably going to get you a boatload of turnovers too. But
yep,
definitely should be worth. I'd say where did he go? A lot of times in like the 5th or 6th round. I think he can beat that price tag.
Yeah, I think the problem is like you said, the turnovers. Again, he's going to be just fine for 8 cat leagues, but 6 turnovers is just pretty brutal for 9 cat. He did that in 25 minutes. And again, it just that line. While it's fine for ACAT, there's a lot across the board, and he didn't kill you with efficiency. Added in some defensive metrics, but there just really isn't enough across the board to offset those 6 turnovers. Those are pretty massive over there. So that's going to be concerning for anyone in non-cat leagues. Any other highlights from Memphis that we want to talk about? Brandon Clark, nice debut game for him as well. Coming off the bench, 8.7 boards with a block in 23 minutes. Also a 3-pointer. A lot of opportunity for Clark. Jonas Valanciunas only played 16 minutes in this one. So what do you think about the Memphis front court and how that's going to shake out?
So these guys, I'm sending out buy low offers like crazy, especially in this first week and these first few games where everyone's in panic mode. With JJJ underperforming, Valanciunas only getting 16 minutes. Even Brandon Clark, I think some people were hoping for some double-double potential going on, and he can definitely do that. But I think with Valanciunas, he got 5 fouls along with JJJ, and he's still coming back from that foot injury.
Yeah.
So I could see people looking at his line and being a little scared. So we all know what he's capable of doing. I would be floating buy low offers out there like crazy right now for these 3 guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. Obviously we're not giving up on Valanciunas this early, they did say that they were going to limit his minutes because of his injury. But this is very very un-Jonas Valanciunas line, and Miami really pulled away in this game late in the fourth quarter, so they may have just kind of folded it up and said, all right, not our night. let's just go and get out of here, because there were 10 guys on this team that got 16 minutes or more, and really Jonas was the one that played 16. So I don't know. That creates a bit of a wonky scenario where you got 10 guys playing 20-something minutes, and that can really mess with your fantasy teams. But I would imagine that should balance itself out a little bit more, where the clear starters are playing some clear minutes, and then there's a couple of key bench guys like Jones and Clark that get the lion's share of the time off the pine as well.
Yes, sir.
All right, we will jump over to Minnesota and Brooklyn. Minnesota pulled one out in overtime, 127-126. My beloved Nets. Oh my God, it was a tight one, and just tough loss for the good guys. But hello, Kyrie Irving, 50 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. He was the man on this team, and really kind of single-handedly almost won the game for them, and also kind of single-handedly didn't make the final shot, which was a heck of a debut for Kyrie Irving. Karis LeVert had a really nice game also. 20 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Not terrible shooting, 9 of 19, a 3-pointer, and 3 steals in there, but also 5 turnovers, which is kind of ugly. My favorite line of the night was Taurean Prince, 15 points, 11 boards, 2 assists, 6 of 13 shooting, 2 3-pointers, 2 steals, and a block. I love Taurean Prince. I think he fits this team perfectly. He was dirt cheap in drafts. He's been a hoop ball fave for quite some time. I am the hoop ball resident Nets homer. Go if Taurean Prince is available in your league, then he should not be. Go get him immediately. That's my advice. What do you got for me, Curt?
Yeah, I love it. I was able to scoop him up with my last round pick in a lot of drafts, and I was going off that preseason. It looked good. Like you said, he's been a hoop ball guy for a while. We really like him. And there was some debate on whether he could coexist with Kurucs or who would win that battle. Well, Kurucs got out there for 7 minutes and did almost nothing with them. So
yeah,
Prince actually led the team in minutes at 41. So I'm pretty stoked about having him.
Yeah, the Nets bench was not good tonight, and Prince struggled in the first half, but he really came on in the second half. He looked great, I really believe in him. And Kurucs is kind of in the doghouse over there, Kenny Atkinson's doghouse, just with some off-season comments that he made and the legal issues. So. If you were hoping for a breakout from the Kurucs, I don't know. That this was not encouraging. Over on the Wolves side, Karl-Anthony Towns is a damn monster. 36 points, 14 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 7 of 11 from deep. I don't even know what to say. He's a machine, and he's going to have a great season. If you were fortunate enough to get one of those top 5 picks, and you got Towns, God bless. That's all I have to say. Robert Covington missed a lot of last season, 15 points, 9 boards, no defensive stats, but it was nice to see he played 32 minutes, knocked down 3 3-pointers as well. Those defensive stats will come. I'm not worried about Covington there. Another guy that we kind of have to talk about, and I was more bullish on him than most, is Andrew Wiggins. 21 points, 8 boards, no assists, no defensive metrics, and 10 of 27 from the field. This is going to be, a debate point whether or not Wiggins can, turn the corner. I still think that he can. Yeah, he's popcorn stats with terrible percentages, but I think it's a long season, and I look, they need him. And they need him to develop if they have any semblance of a shot of growing as a team. So I think the pendulum swung too far on him with him being radioactive in fantasy. Feel free to disagree with me if you want, Kurt, because I know you love those defensive metrics, and he just doesn't bring them.
I really do, and that's why I might be a little bit on the other side of the fence. But don't get me wrong, he's definitely where you got him in most drafts with your second to last pick for the scoring. Definitely worth taking a shot at. You could do worse with one of your last few picks out there.
Yeah, agreed. I'm still holding out hope for him. He was one of my bold predictions on the year. So we are moving on. We've only got so much time left and a few more games that we want to cover. So let's go to the San Antonio Spurs defeating the New York Knicks 120 to 111. LaMarcus Aldridge, very kind of typical-ish LaMarcus Aldridge line. 22 points, 8 boards, an assist, a couple blocks, a three-pointer. Perfect at the line, 8 of 15 from the field. 4 turnovers, but essentially nothing much to see. Dejounte Murray, 18 points, 8 boards, 6 assists, 3 steals as well. I think a lot of people were wondering where that backcourt would settle, and Bryn Forbes got a lot of time, 32 minutes. He had 20 points. Who are we buying in this Spurs backcourt? Forbes, Murray, or Derek White, who we all thought would kind of emerge, but only played 22 minutes in this one?
I think, I'm definitely leaning Murray. Forbes is traditionally, your scoring and your threes kind of guy, so I'm definitely leaning Murray. I kind of steered away from this position battle in the drafts this year because I just, like you said, didn't know which way it was going to go. And the preseason, so you got to take it with a grain of salt, White did not get a lot of minutes and he wasn't doing a whole lot. So then I just steered away even more.
Yeah.
The fact that Murray could put up this line in only 24 minutes is definitely encouraging.
It's encouraging. Yeah, look, they were so excited about him last year before blowing out his knee. It certainly looks like on paper that he was healthier than what he seemed. So, yeah, and the fact that he was such an excellent rebounder from the point guard position, that's a huge plus. We'll take the 3 steals for sure. And the efficient scoring, we like that as well. So yeah, I am definitely intrigued by Murray the rest of the season. On the Knicks side, they played without Mitchell Robinson, so it was Marcus Morris doing all the scoring. 26 points, 4 boards, with 3 steals, and Julius Randle also chipped in his usual 25 points and 11 boards. On efficient shooting, but he had 3 steals as well. R.J. Barrett, the rookie, 21 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, efficient shooting, 9 of 13 from the field, a 3-pointer, 2 steals, and did that in 37 minutes. Are we buying that this is what the rotation is going to look like, or is this just a function of there was no Robinson tonight, so we shouldn't get too excited?
Man, when Fizdale's at the helm, there is no telling what the rotation is.
Oh my God, anything goes with him. Like, this could go to hell within the next game for sure.
Absolutely, you could pick up Morris with that amount of minutes in that line, and then he might not play at all next game. We've seen so many crazy things out of New York last year. I don't know if I want to touch any of them besides the ones who are probably owned already. RJ Barrett, if he's somehow not owned, I think he was picked towards the end of the drafts, and for a lot of people, he's worth owning, I think, for the popcorn stats. I don't think his percentages are usually going to be very pretty, maybe not contribute as much in the defensive end, but he could be a decent guy to fill out your roster.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that he's going to get the time. They want him on the court. At least the front court may be a mess, but the back court is a little bit clearer, and he's there starting. I believe they're starting 2. They may have him at 3 here and there. Let Peyton and Dennis Smith Jr. deal with whatever craziness at the point, but he's their future, so they're going to keep him on the floor for as much as possible. So, but yeah, until there's some more clarity, this could all change by the next game. So I don't want to take too much from that. And then, of course, Mitchell Robinson, you throw that into the mix, and it's going to change things a ton.
Yeah.
Going over to Washington and Dallas. Dallas wins 108-100. I mean, plain and simple, Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis are great. There's your analysis. The hoop ball analysis. Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis are great. Doncic with 34 points, 9 boards, 3 assists. Good shooting, 4 of 9 from deep. A couple steals, 6 turnovers, but again, that kind of comes with the territory when you're putting up those kinds of stats with Doncic. Porzingis, 23 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, a steal and a block, also 4 turnovers. Not a bad comeback night for Porzingis. I think there's still upside there. 29 minutes for him, and that seems to be where they're probably going to keep him, just to keep him fresh for as long as possible.
What do you think about DeLon Wright? He's been one of our hoop ball guys, and he put up some pretty nice lines to end the season last year, but he's been really quiet in the preseason and didn't change that a whole lot tonight either with 5 points.
No, yeah, in only 21 minutes. It's I am a little worried, but at the same time, I think we know what he's capable of. I just think Carlisle's also one of those guys where, you know, guys can get into his doghouse pretty easily, and then he starts giving, you know, Finney Smith some minutes or Justin Jackson some minutes, and I would hope that there's better times ahead for Wright, but let's give him another few games before we start to hit the panic button.
Oh, absolutely. Do you like anybody on Dallas's bench? I'm looking at it, and I don't think there's anybody on here that I would consider owning in most standard leagues.
No, I like Seth Curry, but only in really deeper formats because he is an excellent three-point shooter. But in 19 minutes, you know, he's got to get hot quickly in order for that to matter. But there's really no one else that I'm intrigued by. And Tim Hardaway Jr. I didn't get to see any of this game, but if the paper's any indication, then he's pretty much done, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so too.
On the Wizards side, Brad Beal, 19 points, 6 boards, 9 assists, 3 steals. He's trying to do too much, clearly, because 7 of 25 is not what you want to see, and 1 of 11 from deep. I'm sure there'll be more efficient days ahead. But yeah, this is a little bit of the risk with Brad Beal super early is that he'll try to carry teams, and then the ball won't go down for him, and this is kind of the end result. But you can see the makings of someone who, when he's on, he's going to put up some really, really massive lines. Thomas Bryant, 14 and 11, 3 assists, no defensive metrics. And Rui Hashimura, double-double in his debut, 14 points, 10 boards. Also no cash counters either, but hey, we'll take a double-double in debut. Anything else you want to take away from the Wizards, who are going to be a unique dumpster fire for this season?
They definitely will. Moritz Wagner, I was kind of eyeing him in the preseason a little bit, putting up some decent lines. He was okay tonight, 13 points, 3 threes, 2 rebounds, but only 17 minutes. I'm not really interested in him now.
He fouled out in 16 minutes for the love, and 5 turnovers. That is not pretty.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, there's ability, but man, you can't have 5 turnovers and 6 fouls in 16 minutes. That's just insane. That's not good. That's not going to earn you more time, no matter who you're playing for.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a hard pass for me right now.
Yeah. Look, I'm with you, though. Keep an eye on him. Maybe there's better times ahead, because I thought he was a pretty good dark horse pick for deeper leagues. But no, that's a rough first night out for him. OKC and Utah. Utah wins 100-95. Tight one throughout this game. Donovan Mitchell, 32 points, 12 boards, and 3 assists. Really efficient, great shooting night for Donovan Mitchell. 14 of 22, a 3-pointer, a steal there. That's pretty much a statement game for him. A lot of questions about what would happen with Mike Conley coming in. Can he make that leap to be the superstar that a lot of people think he is? And man, that answer that one pretty emphatically. Let's go through some other names real quick. Rudy Gobert, 7 points, 14 boards, only a block, 4 turnovers. Not the best of nights for him, but I'm not worried about him. Mike Conley, oh my God, woof. 1 of 16. That is not the Jazz debut he was looking for. 5 points, 5 assists. Just throw this one away and move on. That's just better nights ahead for Mike Conley. Try not to let this one leave too bad of a taste in your mouth. And Bojan Bogdanovic, 16 points on 6 of 14 shooting. Anything you want to take away from the Jazz team that I haven't hit on, Curt?
Not a whole lot. Joe Ingles had 7 points, 4 rebounds, and assist, a 3-pointer. Not the prettiest line, but he did play 33 minutes. So better days ahead for him as well.
Yeah, I think so too. On the OKC side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 26 points. But not much else. Only 10 to 23 shooting, 2 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal. Lots of points and not much else. But very clearly they're giving him a green light, which is nice to see. And I'm sure some of the other counting stats will come along with time. Chris Paul, 30 minutes, 22 points, 8 boards, only 3 assists. But a pretty decent night all around. 4 of 7 from deep. Perfect at the stripe. I don't know. Do you like Chris Paul this year, or are you as freaked out about him as you are Kevin Love?
Well, for where you could get him in most drafts, I think he definitely was a good value. There are definitely some risks involved with the injuries and possible trade, but it's really hard to pass on him for me at the range that you were able to grab him this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would take a line like this. I mean, you drafted him for assists, and 3 assists isn't really going to cut it. But at the same time, 22, 8, and 3 with a pretty good shooting night with his threes and a steal. That's a pretty solid night for him. And if he can just deliver that in 30 minutes, I'm totally cool with it. No real issues there. Let's see. Steven Adams, only 1 of 8 tonight in 27 minutes. We'll move on from there. 21 points, 7 boards for Danilo Gallinari. Moving on as we try to close this out. Sacramento and Phoenix. This one is over. 124 to 95. Suns took it to the Kings. Not expecting this final score. But yeah, they just completely went on a run in the second half. Devin Booker, 22 points, 10 assists. Kelly Oubre Jr., 21 points, 9 boards, a steal and a couple blocks as well. DeAndre 18 and 11, 4 blocks and a steal. That's a heck of a night for him. Ricky Rubio, 11 points, 11 assists, 4 of 12, but again, that's kind of Ricky Rubio and 4 steals as well. Curt, that feels about right for all of the Suns players and pretty much what we thought that they would going to be going into this game. I'm really surprised at this outcome. Anything you want to add on just for fantasy sake here?
Yeah, like you said, I think there's not a lot that's too surprising here. You'd hope for maybe a little better line from Mikal Bridges. Yeah. Devin Booker getting 10 assists is nice. I thought his assists would go down this year with Rubio.
Right, with Rubio, correct.
So that's a nice little surprise. A little less scoring, a little more assists. Not too bad there. I don't really see a whole lot on the bench that's really catching my eye. Do you?
Yeah, no, and Sarge with the kind of a very light line over there. There's really nothing else that's really, they're going to be starter heavy. I think, like you said, Bridges will have better days ahead for him, but it's going to be Booker, Oubre, Ayton, Rubio, and Bridges will have some nights here and there, but that's really where your fantasy sources are going to be. On the Kings side, Buddy Hield led the way with 28 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, really solid shooting night, 6 3-pointers, no defensive stats, and 5 turnovers, though. I don't know what the heck happened with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox with an absolutely miserable night, only 8 points and 5 assists on 3 of 7 shooting with 5 turnovers. Bagley with a double-double, 14 points, 10 boards, a steal, and a block. Not the worst thing in the world, but this team, that's not the start that these guys, I'm sure, were hoping for. It certainly looks like the minutes are going to be all over the place, and I don't know if that was a function of the game getting out of hand or if this team doesn't quite know what its identity is quite yet.
Yeah, I can't glean a whole lot from this one. There's nothing. It's a little bit all over the place. Like you said, Fox will be better. Bagley will probably be a little better. Do you think Dedmon will get more minutes than this?
I don't know. I would think so, but I know that our pal Aaron Brewski is high on Rashawn Holmes, and Dedmon's a guy to me that also there's some injury risk there. Doesn't really make it through full seasons, and I think that with the depth that they have, where Harry Giles is out of this one, they have Holmes, and I know that there was talk of playing Bagley at the 5 also. I just don't see a whole lot of room for minutes, beyond the upper 20s for Dedmon.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
And to close this out, the Denver Nuggets win 108-100. This one just under wraps. Nikola Jokic, 20 points, 13 boards. 2 assists, nothing on the defensive side, which is, that's typical Nikola, but 3 3-pointers. Usually you get more assists out of Jokic, but not a terrible start to the season for him. Will Barton, 19 points in 31 minutes. Solid night for him. Jamal Murray, 14 points, 6 assists. I guess Gary Harris with a bit of a dud, only 3 of 11 shooting. Did chip in a couple steals, but only 8 points and 3 boards and 0 assists there. The depth on the Nuggets was always going to be was a big story going into the year, and it really kind of depressed the values of a lot of the Nuggets players. But instead, what we see is that Jokic only played 23 minutes, which the fact that he delivered that line in only 23 minutes is pretty solid. But Barton, 31 minutes. Murray, 33 minutes. Millsap, 31 minutes. Gary Harris, 35 minutes. Does that change the trajectory of things in your mind?
For Gary Harris, I'm definitely holding on. I'm hoping that this could be kind of a bounce back year for him. So the 35 minutes are definitely encouraging. I know, was it 2 years ago? I think he was about a top 40 player, and he wasn't even getting over 30 minutes a game then. So if he's going to be getting around 30 or more minutes, definitely is encouraging for him, even with this lackluster line.
Yeah, let's hope that this was just a bad shooting night for him. It looks like he was in a bunch of foul trouble. Also, the turnovers were bad. Let's be patient here. Like you said, we know what the upside is, but even if he doesn't have the kind of percentages that buoyed him to that kind of top 40 area, there's no reason why he, especially if he's playing minutes in the 30s, why he can't put up somewhere near top 75 range of numbers, because we know what he's capable of, and if the time's there, then why not? On the Trailblazers side, Dame Lillard, 32 points, 8 assists, 4 boards, a steal, and 3 turnovers. It's a typical Dame line, pretty solid night out, 3 3-pointers, 10 of 21 shooting. I mean, that's to be expected. It's Dame. Hassan Whiteside, 16 points, 19 boards, a couple blocks, 4 turnovers, and perfect from the stripe. So that's got to be encouraging for anyone who took a flyer on and was hoping for the best. 16 points on 7 shots and perfect from the line. That's really, really encouraging for you Hassan Whiteside fans out there. And CJ McCollum, lousy shooting night there, 5 of 18. And really that's all I'm seeing. 30 minutes for Zach Collins, but he didn't really do much with them. Anything else to kind of wrap her up here, Curt, how do you want to take on the Trailblazers?
Zach Collins, I really liked how he looked in preseason. I think he can be a decent source of threes and blocks. So I'm hoping for more from him in the future. Whiteside, that was definitely a nice line for only 26 minutes and the 19 boards, 16 points, 4 for 4 from the line. So that's super encouraging. I picked him up in a lot of drafts where I went super guard heavy in the beginning and then needed somebody who could get me double-digit rebounds and some blocks. So happy about that. On the bench, I know one of our hoopball guys, Kent Bazemore, got out there for 25 minutes. He did get 5 steals, but not a whole much more outside of that.
5 steals is impressive, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. But it's just hang on to him. If you invested in him, that's part of what he can do. The 3 and D guy. It was mostly D tonight. No threes. He was only 1 of 7 of 3 from deep. But better times ahead for him. And he can do that in minutes in the mid-20s. So, Curt, let's put a bow on this one, man. That was a lot of games. We get the Wednesday night, so it's just going to be like this, man. Just rapid fire. How'd we do?
I think we did pretty good hitting our first big Wednesday.
I think so, too. Oh, man. It's crazy late on the East Coast. Hoopballers, I'm Josh Millman. You can find me on Twitter at Josh Millman. Curt, where can they find you on Twitter?
So they can find me at Captain Kneghis. It's CaptainCaineghis, or also on the Hoopball forums. I'm captain on there as well.
Awesome, dude. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Like, Dan and I have like these boring Twitter names, and you come Captain Kneghis. Like, okay, that was completely out of left field. I love it. Thanks for joining us on the box score breakdown for Wednesday night. This was again a Hoopball presentation. Again, check out hoop-ball.com. It's you still have time for full season membership, Game Time Premium. Sales are going on now. Get access to live video Q&A shows. All your favorite analysts will answer questions for you, and that's what we're here for, man. To try to help everyone win their leagues. And Game Time Premium is where you get access to all of us to try to help you win your leagues. So, Hoopballers, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again next week. Take care, everyone.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.